Welcome to the Mindful You podcast, brought to you by the Mindful University Project at the University of Rochester. Our mission is to cultivate presence, compassion, and well-being by integrating mindfulness and contemplative practices into campus life.
We offer practices such as yoga, meditation, retreats, trainings, and other initiatives to support students, faculty, and staff.
Through this podcast, we share mindfulness journeys and insights on how being present can support mental health, focus, and resilience. Thank you for joining us. Let's explore how mindfulness can transform our lives together.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mindful University Project podcast. My name is Rebecca Block, the director of the Mindful University Project that is offered through health promotion at the University of Rochester. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to one of my colleagues in student life, Hanan Allen, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hanan Allen. Thank you, Rebecca, today for this opportunity and platform to speak. I am a born and raised Rochester native, and I currently work at the University of Rochester in the Department of Student Activities, advising a variety of student org clubs that range from performing arts, cultural identity-based awareness, and the whole nine. I've been in the role for about 2 years and really excited to share my story with you all.
Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast. I know that you are really passionate about wellness and mindfulness and really excited to dive in a little bit deeper so students, faculty, and staff can get to know your experience a little bit better. So to start, can you define mindfulness for us in your own words, and how has that definition evolved potentially over time?
Yeah, absolutely. When I think of mindfulness, the first thing that comes to mind really is just staying grounded, present, and rooted in purpose. That is something that really has kept me alive over the years and just influences the way that I speak, how I think, and just maneuver on a day-to-day basis. And like through practice and life experiences with the good, bad, and the ugly, I feel like we can use that to really evolve through intentionality. And over time, I feel like that has also taught me to be mindful and conscious of other people as well as the environment combined. And like at the end of the day, as cliche as this is to say, we only do get like one planet. So it is very important that we treat it like a holistic temple. And as I've experienced the world in the way that I have, the environment really is something that has become a mindful priority for me to think about on a day-to-day basis.
That's awesome. Yeah, personal well-being is so important. At the end of the day, we have to care for both the planet, the community, as well as ourselves for all of us to be well. And so, also, wellness is a core value for you. Can you share a moment when you realized how much it shapes how you relate to yourself and others?
Yeah, that's a deep question. And when I think about that, to be very vulnerable and transparent, I'll admit that my dad's chronic illness with diabetes and kidney failure has really shaped why wellness is a core value of mine. And just knowing like how much he has struggled internally, externally, the whole nine with this condition, pretty much my entire life. It just has me thinking back to one quote that my mom has literally ingrained into my mind, day in and day out, which is like, without your health, you have nothing in this world. And that's something that I will always carry with me while my parents are still here and even when they are not here. And just shows why I appreciate wellness and the values that they have instilled in me, and just seeing their life experiences and their challenges, it has showed me to prioritize self-care through fitness. And that really has come about with my influence of being a student athlete and a track star. that really shaped my experience from fourth grade all throughout college. Love-hate relationship with the 400, but I
The
feel like
400 is really challenging, so
it
I don't
is.
blame you.
It required a lot of grit, blood, sweat, and tears, but really taught me about time management and like how to balance my academics, but also build community and get to travel with my teammates and compete and win medals that I've been very honored and grateful for. And I feel like that has also like influenced me to be more creative now in my 30s and explore like new hobbies, which I've really developed a strong love for culinary and dance and maintaining that. Work-life balance really gives me the chance to show up fully and authentically and relate to others with compassion. And just to throw like a fun fact out there, I'm not sure if I shared this with you or not, Rebecca, but my name actually translates to mean compassion in Arabic. And that is something I really try to live my life by and exude that type of aura. And always offer compassion first and take that approach both personally and professionally.
I love that. And you mentioned just the really innate drive as a result of your experiences with family members and really how like a lot of us do develop this really big passion for wellness and health because that we just have been through these circumstances where we've seen others or even ourselves go through challenging hardships and we realize that we cannot take our health for granted, that we really got to tend to our body, our mind, every single day to really support ourselves. And I love the meaning of your name. That's really beautiful, and how you've really integrated all your experiences through track and dance and also cooking, and how that really makes a holistic wellness experience for you because wellness is lots of different components, and it's not just tending to our physical and mental health, but actually engaging in activities that really bring us joy, which sounds like you've really bolstered some of those hobbies to really fill up your cup when you may be slightly depleted after a day, just so then you can show up better the next day. I think it's really awesome that you have those practices and that you can also share that with students, that it's important to have other activities outside of your work that focus on your own wellness. And so you've had lots of different really powerful wellness experiences. So you've come to some of our yoga classes offered through the Mindful University project, but you've also been a part of the Peace Corps working in Fiji. You've also been to retreat out in St. Lucia. And can you just share a little bit about how all of these experiences have influenced how you live and care for yourself today?
Yeah, I'd love to. Honestly, between Fiji and St. Lucia, I feel like those islands will always have a special place in my heart for two separate reasons, and they really have wholeheartedly influenced me to schedule joy. So thank you for mentioning that, like in your previous commentary. And I feel like that's something that I've been really trying to prioritize and learned very heavily in 2025 and taking that with me now in this new year of 2026. And just my best friend always like laughs and jokes and it calls me an island girl, but I feel like I've worn that hat very well and it really brings me a lot of like inner joy when I think about the islands. Fiji to start with, I was a youth development and community empowerment volunteer out there from 2016 to 2018. And through that experience, I was only 22 at the time. I went fresh out of college. No one in my family or friend circle ever did anything like that before. So, literally and figuratively, I took a huge leap of faith and just shot my shot and moved to the other side of the world. And it was the best thing I could have done. And through that experience, it really allowed me to really dig deep and have a lot of soul searching and figuring out who I am what I wanted out of life and developing like a new interest of international public service. So I feel like that is really what gave me like the travel bug to want to continue learning about new places, new cultures, languages, cuisine, and the whole nine. Living in a rural village, I was living very simple, and it really humbled me down to the core. I feel like I've always been a humble person, but living with no electricity and very scarce water, accessibility taught me a lot about myself, my community, and to live like an authentic local and not like the Google Images version of what people would imagine Fiji to be like. Yes, there were definitely those like beautiful resorts and cool, fun, touristy things to do, but that wasn't the main purpose of what I was there for. So that island experience was really powerful for me to just grow and develop and just really appreciate the Peace Corps and all the offerings and benefits that I've gained from connecting with the host country nationals and also my Peace Corps colleagues who are now like really close friend of mine. And it's crazy to think that this is the 10-year anniversary of when I first started that journey. So a lot of cool milestones to come up to celebrate that in the works. And when I think about St. Lucia, that was a girls' trip with my best friend, December back in 2024. It was an all-inclusive wellness resort, and shout out to her for picking the location and just the experience. Honestly, I would give it a 5+ star rating if I could. I've never been to an all-inclusive wellness resort like that, so it really just gave me, honestly, an idea of what wellness looks like merged with hospitality and tourism, and even like opened up my eyes to like future career interests and new possibilities when the time comes later on in life that I may be ready to throw out the higher ed hat and transition more into wellness, hospitality, and tourism. So I really enjoyed it. And honestly, it was probably the healthiest I ever felt on vacation. I was motivated to get up at like 6 a.m. to go do like the beach workouts. The change of environment was just everything I needed at that time to really recharge and close off 2024 with a powerful bang. When we arrived, they even greeted us with wellness shots that had like turmeric, orange, ginger, lemon, and black pepper for like immunity boosting. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely the place for me. I love it here already. And we are just stepping foot to an all week experience that I'll never forget. They had locally sourced food, cafes on site, and just so many like daily amenities and activities to take advantage of. And one of my favorite that I got to indulge in was actually getting to meet the St. Lucian Olympic track star, Julian Alfred. She was there at the time, staying at the same resort, Body Holiday, and they organized an event where she gave a talk about her experience and her highlights and her journey running track and pursuing professional professional running through those outlets and how she made it through college and got a contract to run for the Olympics. So that was just very surreal, and it was so like empowering to see another woman of color from the islands and all the hardships she went through and moving to Jamaica when she was in her teenage years to finish high school and really do like serious training to prepare her for a career in track and field. So that is something that I will forever thank St. Lucia for and that experience and just really showing me firsthand what wellness is all about and really prioritizing those kind of experiences. And I'm really glad that I shared that moment with my childhood best friend. We've known each other since we were 12 years old. So I felt like that was the perfect girls trip that came right on time.
Yeah, it sounds like you've had really awesome experiences in different countries, learning about different wellness experiences, but then also having the ability to learn about what it's like to live in a different experience from really rudimentary experiences to even being in like a really nice wellness resort. I'd love to do that one day. It sounds like a really great experience and that you're able to see that Olympian talk about their sport and their wellness journey. So you have come to some of our yoga classes and engage in some other yoga. And we're just curious about if you could talk about what it feels like and what stands out to you about practicing yoga and mindfulness in a community.
Yeah, absolutely. When I think about practicing mindfulness in community, that instantly gives me the idea and the notion that it brings together like a special camaraderie within campus life and knowing that everyone is here to take care of ourselves and each other. That's a big reason why I'm very grateful for the Mindful University project and just thank you for making those resources free and accessible for faculty, staff, and students. It really has given me a great structure to my work weeks when things can get a little hectic, stressful, busy, all of the above. But carving in and scheduling in wellness, fitness has really helped my physical well-being, but also like my mental well-being and yoga. Really allows me to take a pause, reset, and quiet out all the noise. When I was an undergrad student at Penn State, I was running track, and in addition, I decided to join the yoga club that they had there. And it was really nice to like merge both of those experiences together. And I feel like that really helped me as like a track athlete, being able to faithfully maintain yoga and go to those sessions as well, stretching out my muscles, recovering from the daily workouts that we had to do, traveling to other colleges for meets and all of the above. So that was really like my first introduction to yoga and really understanding the mind, body, soul connection that it was. And just maintaining that as a practice has been really helpful for me to just stay centered, zen, calm, even through the storms, and just dedicate time for me to just lock in. And like I said, quiet all the noise, leave my phone in the locker, and don't be distracted with all those materialism things, and just really be present and enjoy the people around me and be grateful for the instructor also for giving up their time to teach. People have always told me that I give off yoga instructor vibes. So who knows, maybe in the future that could be another calling. I haven't gotten there yet, but maybe I might hit you up for some tips
I
on how to make that happen.
yeah, I think if it's something that really brings you alive. I think that being a yoga instructor really is deep into my practice, especially like the knowledge, and also appreciation of the practice. And it's been really a fun creative outlet to teach and to be offer and create all these different experiences for people and really meet people where they're at. So thanks so much for sharing like all your experiences of the benefits and the reasons why you attend yoga. It sounds like you've been kind of a mover. Like movement is really a big part of your life and your wellness journey. And how do you see movement as a form of mindfulness or healing?
Yeah, when I think about movement, mindfulness, healing, all of the above, I honestly believe that it really entails like a mind, body, and soul connection. And keeping those three components aligned, I feel like heals us both internally and externally. And whether we move our bodies like on a small, medium, or large scale, that still matters. And we should never take that type of mobility for granted because at the end of the day, I feel like movement is a privilege and just being able to take a step. People don't really think about that. and just having the mobility to do so without needing additional assistance. So that is something that really has helped me making sure that I get decent movement throughout the days, even if I just go on a 15, 20, 30-minute walk. That's still something. It's better than zero, and really helps with clearing my mind and even just digestion in general, because our bodies weren't really meant to um, stay mobile or stagnant. We're meant to move around and be active. So that I feel like has really helped me be intentional about how I choose to move my body and when.
Yeah, movement is truly medicine for a lot of individuals. Like as you mentioned, just even as small as a 15-minute walk, just getting all of the blood moving throughout our body to wake up the
Mhm.
organs, to allow them to um, be functioning well, and also it can be really great for the mind and just feeling good, and a really great way to help wind down or even get ready for a day. So
Yeah.
now going into your role at the university, in your role supporting student organizations and Wilson Commons student activities, how does mindfulness show up in how you support student leaders? Because you said that you support a lot of student organizations, so I'm curious how that potentially translates to your work with students.
Yeah, definitely. I advise about 45 student groups, so it is a huge caseload, but all the groups that I have are very different, very unique, and have really given me a lot of knowledge and expertise on what it means to be a higher education administrator. And honestly, showing up to work, knowing how of a very student facing job we have and the responsibility that comes with that. Being relatable to my students that I advise, showing up genuine, and just being a transparent administrator on campus that they can trust is something that I really hold with a lot of dignity and integrity. Real recognize real at the end of the day, and just understanding the different needs from the Gen Z cohort of college students that we have now in this post-pandemic era has really given me a lot of critical thinking skills on how to approach my work, advising them and helping them with event and program management. So with that being said, being very adaptable, flexible, and patient has really served me well to meet them where they are, gain that trust, build that authentic rapport. And with my study abroad experience, that is also another thing that I advocate for them to be and to do. And a lot of students have booked advising sessions with me to learn more about the Peace Corps, learn more about what it means to study abroad, and just helping them with that process. It's been very rewarding to see some of my students go to Spain, Germany, and see the world as I have had the honor and privilege to see. And I think that having and embodying a first gen multicultural lens really gives me that unique approach to just connect with them on a real level, host culturally responsive programs, and just help my students succeed outside of the classroom because I want to see them win academically, socially, professionally, all the things. And they really are my biggest joy and the reason why I enjoy the work that I do and just here to serve them in any capacity that I can. I was thinking back to when I graduated college 10 years ago. I did not do that alone. I had a lot of mentor support, a great academic advisor. Shout out to Margaret Hammond. She really pulled through when I was struggling going through all those psychology classes at Penn State, and she really gave me a lot of great guidance in preparing for my departure leading up to the Peace Corps. So it really is about like the people in your corner. And now being on the other end of the spectrum, I just want to pay it forward and make higher ed a positive experience despite a lot of the chaos that may be going on in the world right now. And if I can be that one person that makes my students excited to come to campus, I'm happy to wear that hat.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a really holistic approach to supporting your students and different aspects of well-being. And you've been touched by really great mentors who have honed in on a lot of these skills that have really helped you to be who you are today and as successful as you are. And you really want to impart that onto the students that you work with. And I think that's really huge that students can find mentorship in you and your services. So, thinking about now students, from your experience, like what do you think you wish students understood more about wellness, rest, balance, well-being deeply involved on campus? A lot of our students are not only majoring in something, but sometimes double majoring and very involved on campus. And yeah, like what do you wish that students understood or engaged in?
Yeah, first and foremost, I would really say choose rest, balance, and well-being every time. I never really realized the importance of sleep until I got to college myself. I remember days of taking a nap, waking up with drool coming down like the side of my face and not knowing like what time or what day it was because I was so sleep deprived and just needing extra rest to just catch up on things, doing what I needed to do, running track, working part-time at the daycare, volunteering as a hotline counselor, and being on the Caribbean student dance team. I was heavily involved, doing a lot, and really enjoyed my time on campus. But finding in time to schedule rest is just as important. And as I tell my students all the time, like being involved is great to build character, interest, and leadership skills. However, it does not serve you any good if you're thriving off vibes, caffeine, and a poor diet. You have to slow down and like listen to your body and really pause. And sleep. Sleep, drink water, and take a self-care day if you need to. There's nothing wrong with that, and there should be no guilt surrounded behind that as well. And now more than ever, I feel like it's very clear that chasing capitalism and embedding like the go, go, go mentality is not sustainable at all. And if we don't slow down and be present, our body will force us to do so. And I feel like it wasn't until I lived in Fiji that really allowed me to really be present and learn like how toxic the go, go, go mentality really is here in the US. And it contributes to heavy levels of burnout. Human beings were meant to create, we're meant to be outside, we're meant to do the simple things and just, exhaustion, it should not be on that list. And thinking about that question, those are things that I always tell my students all the time, whether it's studying for an exam or prepping your notes for a homework assignment or doing study groups. As much as you schedule that time in the library, you should also schedule time to do something fun for yourself. Those two should go hand in hand. C's get degrees, and we, as we have heard, but yeah, it's all a part of what kind of experience do you want to curate during the 4 years that you're here. Make the most of it, and do it well and do it balanced.
I think those are all really wise words of wisdom for a lot of students. And what we know from the continual research that is constantly coming out is that taking care of your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial well-being usually has been shown in research to support focus, clarity, mental health,
Mhm.
academics, work performance, and sometimes it can be challenging when we're living in this hustle culture, as you mentioned, this capitalist society that feels like we are being needed to always be productive. And at the same time, from the knowledge that we know from research and also own personal lived experiences, how can we impart this information onto students to allow them to engage in self care and actually see it as a priority? So I love all those things that you share with students and that you
Thank
shared with
you.
us. So if listeners like take away just like one insight or practice from this conversation, what would you hope it is?
Yeah, I have a couple of things that come to mind. Firstly, I would honestly say that the world is your oyster. Curate memories and live a full life. When that time comes, you want to be able to look back and really be proud of the things that you were able to do, the memories you're able to create, and the experiences that you were able to have. You're not going to remember spending $100 on the electricity bill. All those things won't really matter. It's the impact that does. And as I've like mentioned before, like throughout our conversation, like you really should prioritize joy because happiness is very conditional. That can only get you so far, but if you keep joy at the core of your heart, the core of your intention, it'll really allow you to keep your main focus on building capacity that way. And as I like think back and reflect on my 31 years of life, I am very forever humbly grateful that wellness has been a lifestyle that I've tried to really curate for myself, and merging that passion with global experiences to shape my perspective on life and just experience diverse cultures intentionally has really shaped who I am today and who I plan to become tomorrow and even in the future. And I'll just end by saying that we should all leave this world with a little extra seasoning and being marinated through those journeys. You learn a lot by just opening up your mind to so many different things. So encourage everyone to do things afraid, do it scared. You never know until you put yourself out there and see everything that this beautiful world has to offer day in and day out.
Yeah, those are really great tidbits to end our conversation today. I think that a lot of individuals can resonate to a lot of these points of leaning into fear, leaning into joy and play. I loved what you say about joy. I do agree also that happiness is seems like so attainable, and it's usually this thought that if we do or get this, then we'll be happy. But joy is so accessible in the moment. Even right now, in this moment, if there's something that feels challenging or not great, where can we find small amounts of joy, like the sun hitting our skin on a gloomy day, or a
Right.
sip of water, or a sip of cup of coffee? Like there's so many different ways that we can engage in the practice of joy, and especially as we age over time, we kind of lose this touch of play. And I love how you encourage students to consider ways to play, to have joy, to go do fun things, because life is more than just their work.
Exactly. I'm always
Yeah.
looking for ways to keep my inner child alive, and I feel like that
Mm-hmm.
will never go away. I'm a big kid at heart and proud to say
Same.
it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much for being on the podcast today. It was really great speaking with you, and I hope that this touches a lot of people. And if anybody wants to chat with Hanan, you can find her information on the Wilson Commons Student Activities website if you want to chat a little bit further. But thank you so much again, and we hope you have a great day.
Thank you.